The United States government has officially shut down. For a country that lectures the globe about governance, stability, and responsibility, how could it fail to fund its own government? But how did it come to this? Who pushed the system to the edge? And what happens now to its people, to its economy, and to America's image before the world? This is the story of a shutdown that reveals not only political dysfunction, but also a deepening fracture inside America's democracy. The President of the United States, Donald Trump, once said, long before he entered the Oval Office, that a government shutdown would be a terrible mark on any president. Back then, he was quick to point the finger at whoever was in power. But today, the shutdown has arrived under his watch. And instead of solutions, the American people are witnessing finger-pointing, canceled meetings, and even mocking videos on social media. The Republicans hold the White House. They control the Senate. They dominate the House of Representatives. In theory, they hold all the levers of power, yet they failed to prevent the shutdown. What does that say about leadership? Wasn't Donald Trump elected as the so-called great negotiator? If so, why was he unwilling or unable to negotiate a budget with his opponents? To understand the collapse, one must look at the system itself. Shutdowns are not rare in America. In fact, since 1976, the U.S. government has shut down more than 20 times. The root of the problem lies in the way America's system is designed. Unlike India, which passes a single appropriation bill each year to authorize spending, the U.S. must pass 12 separate appropriation bills. If even one fails, the government grinds to a halt. In India, failure to pass the budget leads to the fall of the government and new elections. But in the U.S., the government does not collapse. It simply loses the legal authority to spend money. The funds exist, but they cannot be touched. The American fiscal year starts on October 1st. By law, Congress must pass spending bills to keep the government functioning. Without these bills, federal agencies lose authority to spend. This principle is encoded in a law dating back to 1884, the Anti-Deficiency Act. This time, Republicans put forward a short-term funding proposal, one meant to keep the government running until November 21st. But in the U.S. Senate, it takes 60 votes to pass such a measure. The Republicans simply didn't have enough votes. They needed Democratic support. Negotiations collapsed. Both Republican and Democratic proposals were rejected. And as the deadline passed, the United States entered its first shutdown in nearly 7 years. To grasp the scale, consider this. The United States has nearly 4 million federal employees. When the shutdown strikes, they are divided in two. Essential workers, air traffic controllers, police officers, border patrol agents, prison guards, and even the military must continue their duties without pay. The rest, labeled non-essential, are forced into furlough, uncertain if their jobs will return once the standoff ends. And the disruption is not small. National parks and museums shut their doors. NASA halts its projects. Even food inspections, visa, and passport processing grind to a stop. Life in America slows in ways many never imagine until the system collapses. History shows how long such paralysis can last. In 2018, under Trump's presidency, a funding impasse dragged on for 35 days, the longest government shutdown in U.S. history. Families suffered then, and the shadow of that record now hangs heavy once again. And the longer this stalemate drags on, the deeper the damage becomes. In just a few days, passport processing slows, federal courts begin postponing hearings, and the machinery of government grinds ever closer to paralysis. Even essential services like healthcare functions feel the strain, as workers are ordered to continue without pay. What did the president do next? Instead of calming people, Americans were met with threats. The president warned that he could use the shutdown as an excuse to fire federal workers, even though such actions are against the law. He hinted at cutting benefits, including health care and social support programs. Legally, most programs like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid are shielded from shutdowns. But Trump's record has shown he often says one thing and does another. In the past, he promised to protect Medicaid, but cut billions from it. So when he now suggests benefits might be slashed, Americans are left in fear. The first to suffer are federal workers. Hundreds of thousands of government employees are either furloughed, sent home without pay, or ordered to continue working without salaries. Air traffic controllers, TSA officers, Border Patrol agents, all forced to keep America safe without a paycheck. Yes, history shows they will eventually be paid once the shutdown ends. But rent is due today. Groceries must be bought this week. Medicines cannot wait until tomorrow. Families are now trapped between duty and survival, and it doesn't stop there. Ordinary Americans feel the consequences in countless ways. National parks go unstaffed, garbage piles up, and public services grind to a halt. Veterans visiting VA hospitals face delays in counseling and critical support. Passports may take longer to issue. Food inspections may be skipped. Immigration hearings postponed. In short, lives are disrupted, families are hurt, and faith in government takes yet another blow. America's economy is not invincible. The stock market may appear healthy, but job growth has slowed to its weakest pace in years. Inflation continues to climb, and now a shutdown threatens to drag the economy further down. Analysts estimate that for every week the government remains closed, America loses 0.1 to 0.2 percentage points of economic growth. In 2018, a standoff between Trump and Democrats triggered a shutdown lasting 34 days. Nearly 800,000 federal workers were affected. The U.S. economy lost billions. In 2013, another shutdown lasted 16 days. That too scarred confidence and markets. Today, experts warn this shutdown could be even bigger. As costs rise from health insurance premiums to utility bills, millions of ordinary citizens will bear the brunt. And all of this is unfolding at a time when inflation has already hollowed out middle-class savings. But here lies the deeper truth. This shutdown is not about money alone. It is about power, ego, and political theater. Democrats say they tried to negotiate, offering compromises to keep healthcare affordable for Americans. But they accuse the president of walking away, canceling meetings, and dishonoring agreements. Republicans argue the opposite, that Democrats are obstructing progress. But to the ordinary citizen, the outcome is the same. A government that cannot function, leaders who cannot compromise, and a democracy caught in gridlock. The irony? The United States often positions itself as a global teacher of governance. Yet today, the world is watching a superpower unable to pay its own employees. There's another lesson when we compare the two countries. In India, strong party rules keep the government stable. Thanks to the anti-defection law, members of parliament can't go against their party, so important bills like the annual budget almost always get passed. In the U.S., lawmakers are free to vote against their party, and this often leads to gridlock, where nothing gets done. What about India's economy? At first, people worried that foreign investors might pull out their money, which could hurt the markets. Some investors did sell, but Indian investors stepped in and bought almost twice as much. The result? The Nifty stock index actually went up nearly 200 points even as the U.S. shutdown started. The U.S. dollar also got a little weaker, which helped the rupee. The takeaway is simple. A short U.S. shutdown doesn't affect India much, but if it lasts too long, it could start putting pressure on our markets and currency. For India, watching this unfold from afar, there is a powerful reminder. Strong governance is not about rhetoric. It is about responsibility, stability, the ability to make decisions in the interest of the people, not personal ego. India has faced its own share of crises, from economic slowdowns to natural disasters. But again and again, it has shown resilience, holding elections with the world's largest democracy, ensuring continuity of government, and prioritizing people above politics. As America struggles with a shutdown and leaders at odds, its people bear the cost. Every crisis brings a choice: stay divided or put people first. For India, the lesson is clear. Never take stability for granted. Governance is a duty, not a show. While the world watches America stumble, India must move forward with confidence and unity.